Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to Sunaru Gaming. This is the Shoot You Sir podcast. This is Graham Pike.
Hello.
Hello, and I'm Sly SR. And I've got some subjects for you today. We're going to go through the agenda. I got it right this time. I'll put it on the screen. I'm going to do introduction, which is this, what we've been playing, some shmups that we're looking forward to. We recently did Cave Special for Shoot You Sir issue, so we'll be talking a little bit about that, a little bit about physical games and limited editions and things like that, and then off topic, which will probably be guitars. So without further ado, yeah, so what have you been playing recently or since we last did the last podcast?
Well, a lot of cave shoot 'em ups, funnily enough, because having reacquired an Xbox 360 after selling all my stuff off a few years ago, I think we were just talking about them a lot, and then you were saying you were going to get Death Smiles and Akai Katana. I suddenly thought, well, I'd really like to play them again, how good they were. But what was actually a nice surprise was those two, Death Smiles and Akai Katana, actually there are UK or PAL versions of them around, and which I didn't know. And some of the Japanese ones are multi-region anyway. But no, I was pleased to find that out. So I just bought a couple. Well, I got two UK 360s and now I've Death Smiles, Akai Katana, and Dodonpachi Resurrection, which I was playing this morning actually.
Nice.
So I don't know. There are lots of others, but yeah, there's a few I can't get. Death Smiles 2 and things like that. But that would be another part of the talk is ones we're hoping to come out. But so I suppose it's mainly, apart from the only other sort of thing I've really been, we both downloaded the Capcom Arcade Stadium, part 3 or whatever it was called, which had the sort of the 2000s type of games in. Basically, I got them for pro gear, which I'd never played before. I'd only sort of seen pictures of and videos. I'd never seen it in the arcade, which is kind of a precursor to Akai Katana Death Smiles. Gigawing, which I used to have on the Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, Gigawing.
They were the two I got. I mean, it's only like, what's it cost now? About £11, £12, or I can't remember how much it was, but you got a lot of games. As it turned out, we also found out, was it 1944?
Yeah, or 1945. I can't remember which
one of those two. But yeah, that was surprisingly good as well. I enjoyed that. But yeah, no, I played those quite a bit. Pro Gear, I enjoyed. Gigawing, I'm not sure if it felt exactly the same as the Dreamcast one, but then again, it's a few years since I played the Dreamcast one, and it seemed to look slightly different, but I don't know. I'd have to run them two together to really notice that. But yeah, they were good, and 1945. I think that was surprisingly good, very arcadey in its presentation, which I always like. Big, colourful graphics and sound, and it actually played really nicely, sort of in a old school Raiden-y type of way, and I really enjoyed it. I was surprised because I went through all the games that are on there. A lot of them like sort of things I'm not interested in at all, and that did. And there was another one called 19XX, which is in that series as well, which wasn't bad either. Not as good as 45, but still quite good. But yeah, so that was a good little collection of games for next to nothing, really. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting that. Again, another subject which is coming up later. I wouldn't mind getting that as a real, as a physical thing. If you could buy them, I don't think they will, but if they did, I wouldn't mind getting that part 3 because their games are, worth keeping. And downloads are okay, but it doesn't really feel like you got the game because I know I've had situations where one console's died and I bought another one of the same and re-downloaded. They do let you do it. In fact, when I got my 360s. I only got 2 because one for downstairs, one for upstairs, and my wife used the downstairs one. Is the fact that I remember that I used to have some quite decent shoot 'em ups. One which you can't get anywhere else called Strania, which is a G-Rev game, who I always quite like their shoot 'em up. Anyway, so even though it took me quite a lot of attempts, because I went on to previously downloaded in the menu and all these games came up. I thought, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Anyway, so I just kept trying to download. At first, it said I could, but it wouldn't let me. But I just persisted every day. I'd go on and play for it. Just before I started playing, I'd try and download some games. And eventually, I think I've got them all now, all the ones I want.
Oh, nice.
So I've got Strania, Trouble Witches Neo, which is very childish. It's a bit like Death Smiles, but somehow like a play school version. But it does actually play well. It doesn't look as good as Death Smiles or Akakutano, but it's not a bad little game. There's another one called Amiga 5 or something like that. But it's one of those ones where you got a dual control. One aiming and the other one moving you around, even though it's a 2D horizontal shoot. That's not bad. But yeah, I was glad to get them eventually, and all for nothing because I'd paid for them years ago.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So that was nice. Yeah, so because I've more or less forgotten about them. I thought, well, if some of them I thought I'd buy them again because they're dirt cheap. But no, I managed to get them free. There's a couple of games of Radiant Silvergun. I'll probably get that eventually. Which I used to have on the Saturn, which is, I know you're not that keen on the those type of games, but I always thought Radiant Silvergun was really good. I preferred it to Garuga.
Really high regard. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And I remember it's one of those games actually sold for more than I bought it for, and then I sold it ages ago before it became super collectible. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I paid for it when it came out, 50 quid or something. I sold it for like 75, 80 or something.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a good game. I only sold it because I was getting rid of my gear at the time. But yeah, there's some quite good stuff on there. We discussed it before. What I like about 360 is I think for 2D shoot 'em up games, the graphics look as good on the 360 as anything on the new ones. In fact, I think they look better. When I plugged, I don't know, it sounds weird. I know the 360 couldn't do the amazing new games that the PS4 and 5 can do, or the new Xbox systems. But Death Smiles, Akai Katana, they just look really good, and they don't look in any way inferior. In fact, I'm always more impressed with them. And also, I think I originally had the 360. I had it going through that multi-component thing of like 5 different leads. Remember that? Yeah. Whereas the newer one, well, the ones I've got now, they've got HDMI, so I don't think that makes much difference. But no, I just think they're super sharp. They play well. I mean, it's a funny old console. It's a little bit, like it can overheat easily and things like that. But
I wonder if part of that's because at that point they were using the console to its the programming, the development of the games, really pushing what the console could do, the 360 could do, and it sort of holds up.
I think it's more the fact that they seem to make a conscious decision to get a load of Japanese arcade games on it, obviously to try and catch Japanese people to buy them. But most Japanese think, oh, we've got Sony, we've got Sega, we've got Nintendo. What do we want American system for? So they must be. So I don't think the original Xbox sold that well in Japan. I might be wrong, but I think this was a conscious decision with the 360s. I think this is nothing official, to think, well, let's get what Japanese really like, shoot 'em ups and other, and do it, and they did them well. I say there's no way. I know what you mean about, as you say, with the Mega Drive, when it was near its the end of its life, it was producing some games that are so much better than the early ones. But I don't know, it could be that. But I mean, I think PS4's been out a long time, and I think the shoot 'em ups look great on the PS4, but to my eyes, they don't look any better than the better ones on the 360, really. But I think it's because they're 2D and it doesn't have to work so hard to do a 2D game. I wouldn't have thought they would have to do a great big 3D world. I'm not saying it can compare on any other type of game. I think on 2D, sort of good quality arcade games like Death Smiles and that Akai Katana, it really does. It does as good. But yeah, I mean, you've got both systems, so you know as well how good it looks, how good they look.
Yeah, I mean, I can go from playing Shikondo straight over to playing Escaluda 2 or something on the 360 and not think about it too much because there's not too much like step down or anything like that. It does hold up. Like you're saying, maybe it's because it's 2D that it's a lot easier to go between them. Yeah, I mean, you were really looking forward to Pro Gear. When you first got it, I remember you mentioning in an email that you weren't sure, and then I think you spent some more time with it. How do you feel about it now?
Yeah, I think I wasn't its gameplay. I wasn't sure. I just graphically, it's nowhere near Akai Katana or Death Smiles. I know it's prior to them, It's not that many years earlier. And when you think what the Neo Geo was knocking out in the late 90s, I just think it looks very pixelated. And when you think, yeah, Metal Slug looks pixelated, but somehow it still looks good. I just think, as I told you, my wife was walking by when I first started playing. It looks like Metal Slug. It has got that sort of vibe. But no, I really appreciate what they've done with the game. It plays well, and there's lots of nice little things like when the airplane takes off, there's always kids running along, and there's lots of nice little things in it which I think really add to a game that aren't actually the gameplay, but little extras which which you can enjoy sonically and visually. But no, I think I was disappointed with it graphically, definitely. But once you accept that, I suppose I was just expecting something a bit like Akai Katana, but not quite as sharp, perhaps. But it's complete. It's quite it's a couple of generations down from Akai Katana for sharpness and richness of color. But it is really well designed, and it's a good game. I'm glad I've got it.
So would that be your sort of shmup of choice from that collection, or would it be 1945? Yeah.
Pro Gear. I think I'd give that my number one, and then probably 1945 and Giga Wing. Yeah, an equal second. But I'm sure some people will think I'm mad saying that, but I really always liked Giga Wing on the Dreamcast. But it's unless you see them together, it's never quite sure what the difference is.
Yeah, I think it's also good to not always go back as well, because sometimes you got it in your head and then you go back and you play it.
Yeah.
I've had that a few times, so I've learnt my lesson a little bit. If they're gonna remaster or remake something or port something, it might not play as well, but usually visually they step it up a little bit.
Yeah,
I've been burned a few times going back and playing games and going, "Oh, I remember it being so much better than that."
Yeah, I know what you mean. On the other side of that, which I've said to you before, that I've always been impressed with like putting the old consoles through the old, high definition flat screen TV, and thinking actually they still look good. I think it's going to bring out all the, perhaps it does bring out, but they still, I know, Neo Geo still looks good on the flat screen. And Dreamcast. I remember when I very first put the Dreamcast through it. Yeah, because it was my first flat screen television, big one. Before that had been a big cathode ray thing, and I was thinking, it's gonna make it look all blocked, but no, it looks good, and it's so much nicer seeing it on a monster screen and widescreen. I know a lot of people don't like stretching it. There's different ways to do it. It's like sometimes when you stretch a picture, it still or they've done it so it still looks the same. Other ones, you think it just looks wrong. Or there's not enough, or there's not enough room to play because everything's got wide and big and you can't move around properly. That would ruin the game. But it's just when you've seen a few games or you've got experience, it's just like I was saying, I was playing this morning, Resurrection, on Patsy Resurrection. Nice. I've just slightly expanded it, not to full screen. It'd be crazy. Instead of being a third of the screen, it's probably near a half the screen.
Nice.
So it just gives you a bit more to look at, and it hasn't ruined it. It's still very playable. Bloody hard, but it's still very playable. You know what I mean? But
definitely. And I forgot what it's Hyperkin, and there's another brand, because I'm not trying to sell or flog anything, but they make a lot of. That's what I was using for the Neo Geo, and I purchased for the Saturn.
Yeah,
it goes straight into the base. Got the obviously depending on model and brand, goes straight in the back of the console, and then has a little box which is obviously taking the picture and probably making it brighter and probably some kind of sharpness to it as well.
Yeah.
And then HDMI on the other side, and stuff like that. It's making life so much easier to play games and capture footage and stuff like that.
Well, with my Neo Geo, I just put it into the old RGB SCART socket, which used to be the pinnacle back in the day, rather than audio visual or whatever, or the worst going through the aerial socket. But I'm pleased with it. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, haven't you tried this out?" I think, well, to me, it looks just as sharp, if not sharper than it was back in the day. There was a few years in between, so I just think, well, I really like the way it looks. Why change it?
Yeah, it's an expectation thing, isn't it? If people expect it to look worse, they're going to be uncomfortable when they plug it in. But if you're happy,
definitely,
with it, change.
It's like you were saying about you expect things to look away, and it's that expectation which will make you disappointed probably.
Yeah.
When you're expecting it to look worse and it doesn't, you think, oh, that's good, you know. So
Yeah, I think because visually the Neo Geos always looked impressive anyway, so I
yeah,
think
especially
that
back in the
helps.
day.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that does help.
yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was much better than anything else. But obviously, that was in the 1990s, many years ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's still. You know, I think we both appreciate a good 2D game, whether it's a fighter or a scroller or whatever. You know, it's something about it. But yeah, as I've said many a time, I'm always into upgrading the graphics. Keep it the same, but upgrade it so it, you know, it animates smoothly and it looks sharp and vibrant, colourful. That's what I always say. Streets of Rage 4. It's quite funny because in Streets of Rage 4 you can actually play the old characters as they looked in the old game, and it looks really weird. Because everybody else in the game is modern. If you're playing, I can't remember his name. There's this like martial artist in dark blue. Karen's playing at the moment. We're just going through it. And he just looks odd because he's all pixelated and everybody else is all sharp, and it's just, yeah, but it's, and they even kept the sound effects the same, which is quite good, because like it's a shout, it's all like distorted sort of shout, but it's quite fun to listen to it compared with the modern, you know.
it's yeah, I think they did such a good job on that. I've not got to the point where I've unlocked the older characters. But we had a lot of fun playing. I think I'd stopped playing it because I'm waiting to play it with camera face on the channel again.
Yeah, well, it's definitely better as a 2-player game. That game. Anyway, we're going off the subject. It's not shooting related.
No, but it's relevant to what you were playing.
Yeah.
I also played Devil Engine. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
I think you mentioned it, but I haven't. I think I did look it up on YouTube, but it didn't look like my cup of tea.
It's quite a colourful. Yeah, it's horizontal. Yep, horizontal. Shoot 'em up. Yeah, tough, very tough. But it looks great, and it's fun to play. I've probably played it about 15 times, and then I've not picked it up since, so that probably says a lot about it.
Yeah.
Usually when I get something, I try and give it a bit of time, even if I'm not enjoying it, to see, oh, okay, there's just either a learning hurdle I'm trying to get over, or there's something about it that I just have to get used to. But I struggle with. I think that's it, really, in terms of stuff we've not discussed. Yeah, I think it's on PS4 as well.
I think I looked it up, and it seemed some games to me don't look arcadey; they look more PC-ish. They don't tend to appeal to me so much. So I think there's something about that. I didn't think, you know, because normally, you know, big bold graphics I'll give it a go, but no, I didn't really like the look of it.
And
anyway,
Panzer Dragoon Remake, which was I did enjoy that at first, and then I think that it's not aged well in terms of gameplay.
No, it never was a great shoot 'em up, even back in the day. It was just like it's great music and 3D world to wander around. You know, it was different, and the shooting was okay, but it was never a sort of what you call a high action game. It was more of
I enjoyed it, but it just it was so hard to stay interested in playing it.
Yeah.
As soon as you play 2 or 3 levels, it gets a bit samey. A lot of games are samey, but there wasn't much incentive to keep playing. Like you're saying, there's nothing to be unlocked and things like that, and that's quite important as well.
I remember having
stuff. That's always been a big deal to me. Is I want to unlock extra stuff rather than pay for it. So
yeah, no, I did have the role-playing version of that as well. I think was it Auto or something like that. Panzer Dragoon Auto or Panzer Dragoon. It was an RPG. That became incredibly collectible after I got rid of it, of course. But no, I enjoyed that. It still had flying around, but I can't remember exactly. There's a lot more RPG elements to it. It was good actually. But yeah, I think that's gone all expensive and collectible.
Nice.
But who knows why? I sometimes think, is it companies that make this happen, you know, or is it people? You know, because they start asking silly money, and then their competitors do the same, or they just ring each other up, say, when are we going to spice up now and say it's rare, and let's start charging a fortune.
Yeah, definitely. And because companies will put limited edition on something, but it's not usually that limited. I think you're right. I think a lot of the time it is. I mean, sometimes there'll be less of them, but people do, and you see it with a lot of things. Looking back on equipment and pedals and things, there's a pedal that before I moved to Australia was about 65 quid. And I looked on eBay recently, it was £450.
Yeah,
Fuck off, it was a shit pedal then.
yeah.
Probably awful now.
No, that's what's even worse is the fact that some of the collectibles are not even good games.
Mm.
You know, they got that on the Neo Geo. Some of the, as Fraser has told us, that, you know, there's some of the collectibles are totally awful. Thing is, they only produced a couple of hundred of them, because everybody thought that's rubbish. I'm not buying that. So they only produced a very few of them, and that now they're worth ridiculous money. Because collectors not that bothered about buying them, they probably never come out of the box. You know.
I wonder if I never asked him, but I wonder if the joy is specifically when you've got everything, because like you're saying with the crap games, and there obviously is crap games on every console.
Definitely.
When you get that, does he play it, or if he knows it's a crap game or he's played it in the arcade, does he just go, it's on the shelf? And then
I don't know what
collection go, yes, I finally got everything. It's that feeling I was after.
I know he's got the same system as me, so he probably just uses those, and he might play them once. I don't know. I haven't asked him. But on the subject, I don't know if one of the subjects you mentioned at the beginning was physical copies. I'm a big liker of physical copies. Yeah, I don't really want. I'm not going to spend hundreds and hundreds because it's collectible. But when I remember when I was buying 360 games, I wasn't a collector, but I liked it. If I could get the limited edition one, it's because it's nothing. I enjoy it. I enjoy opening it up, and you get like a music CD and some books or
360.
anything.
There's a lot of them as well. That
yeah,
sort of special.
And they're really nice. They're so presented so well. Which one's that?
That's Dodonpachi Saidai, the last one.
Right. Is that 360? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've still got pictures of them. Some of my old games on the 360, and the packaging and the whole presentation is just brilliant. I really like all that. I think they're nice things to own. They're like little works of art, you know. And so you're not just saying, "Oh, I've got that because it's a limited edition. It'll be worth something one day." You got it because you got extras. Plus, it is a nice thing to have on your shelf. There's nothing I used to go down like some of these game shops, and they got like an old Saturn game. It looks like somebody's like used it for a slipper or something, like worn it on their feet or something. And you're thinking, I don't want that in my house. You know, it's just, I'm not being snobby, but you know, it's like I want it to look good, and you know.
Yeah.
When I got my 360 recently, and I bought some UK, I got Decimal, those Dodonpachi Resurrection and Echo Time. Two of them went brand new, which I thought, how the hell did they have them new? Because they were still with that security Xbox thing on. I always take that off and then stick it on the inside of the cover, the plastic bit on the. But yeah, and you know, and the one that wasn't new was like pristine condition. I really appreciated that. And they weren't that expensive, you know, they're like 35 quid or something. And because I got the deluxe edition of the Decimals.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, then you get 3 discs with that. You get a PC extras. So you put on your PC and loads of artwork and stuff. You've got the music CD and obviously the main game. But it all goes on one little pushing. It's like a big thing you push in. There's not like 3 different places to put it. But no, I do appreciate all that artwork and extra discs and things. I really like all that stuff. I mean, one thing I don't want really is models. You know, like sometimes like with some of the shooting games, you get a model of the airplane. That's just like takes up space. I'm never, you know, it'll never come out of its box, and I'm not interested in models. Full stop. So
yeah, I had one that came with that Mushihime Sama. I sold it because I got it on 360 in the end, but it's like I wasn't really interested in the figure. It's just like kind of like the box.
Yeah. Well, I remember there was one I got on the GameCube, and it came with a cat. It was like a little cat. It was a shoot 'em up as well, if I seem to remember. I can't remember which one it was now. But yeah, you got this little model of a cat. You know, about quite a few inches tall, solid sort of little thing. Must have been a character involved in the shoot 'em up. I'm sure there's somebody out there. Hopefully, somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a few of them. I remember
there's a big thing about mascots in Japan, isn't it? I wonder if that feeds a lot into the models and things that come out because it represents the game, maybe.
Yeah.
So next section, What are you most looking forward to in terms of upcoming games?
The only ones I really know about and want is Death Miles 1 and 2, which I which I definitely
Nice.
want to get on hard, a physical copy, as you call it, what we used to call hard copy. Yeah, probably PS4 because my switch is through my smaller telly downstairs, so the missus can use it more, and so I'll get the PS4. Anyway, to be honest, I like a disc. Those little tiddly cartridge things you get in. Sadly, it's just nothing, is it? At least the disc is, you could have a picture disc or something. You can't have a picture that small, can you? But well, you could, but yeah, no, I like to get hard copies of those, and it'd be nice to see. I mean, you've been playing it already, but it'd be nice to see Best Smiles 2 again.
It
I don't remember it
really good.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that. It's a shame I can't play it. It's a Japanese only, isn't it? The Death Smiles 2. You'd only play. It's a regional one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming out. But God knows, I think it'll be the end of the year rather than the beginning or the early middle now. But I think it's a few months off. Even though I don't like R-Type games that much. That R-Type Delta 2, is it?
Oh yeah.
R-Type, is it R-Type? That looks amazing. Its graphics are really. I mean, they always have been pretty impressive. I can remember R-Type Delta when it first came out on the PlayStation 2, I think it was. Something like that. That was impressive for its time. But no, looking at high def videos of the next one, which I'm not sure when it's coming out, seems to be being put back. But it's just something I'd like to play because it just looks so amazing. So I do find R-Type games so much. You have to be in the right position all the time. Yeah, especially as you get on in levels. I find it you have to memorize the level sort of thing. I find that quite difficult because I don't play all the time. I don't play for hours and then I tend to play for like 45 minutes at a time, something like that. So I probably won't be very good at it, but it just looks so amazing. I think it's got to be worth getting just for the effort they put into making it look good. And again, I'd like to get that as a hard copy, as a physical copy as well, because it just looks like a game well worth having,
It does look very good.
Yeah, I say they are hard games. Yeah. I forgot what the question was. What games are you
upcoming games?
What are you looking forward to then?
There's a couple. There's Squadron 51, which is the black and white 50s.
Oh yeah.
I think that's horizontal as well. That looked really good.
Yeah, it does look nice.
We did a little thing on that in issue 2.
Yeah, I remember. Black and white picture, yeah.
Yeah. The one I'm really looking forward to, apart from Death Miles 1 and 2 on Switch, because it'd be nice to play that anywhere, is Rangok Skies, which is the M2 vertical shooter. And that looked really good. That looked right up my street. But again, like you were saying with Death Miles, I don't think it's going to be, it'll be later in the year. I don't think it's soon. Even on the Japanese stores for PS4, and I think it's specifically for Switch, and on Switch they're not even on the coming soon or anything, so I don't think it's going to be a while, unfortunately. But that looked really colorful, and that had anime graphics, and I can't find it, but it was like ex-Pixar creators were doing it. I did a little news article on it. I think I was in issue 1. It's Sine, all guns blazing, Signy, all guns blazing.
But how does it spell?
CYGNI.
Oh, yeah, so I vaguely remember that, yeah.
If it was a K, it'd be Keegney, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, we'll never know. I'm mispronouncing it, but all guns blazing, and that's from the Pixar creators, and the graphics look fantastic on it. Again, it doesn't look like that's coming out anytime soon. And kind of Cotton's just released, obviously, and I bought the limited run games physical edition. We'll touch on that more later, but I'm looking forward to playing that. It is on the Japanese Switch store, so it depends how desperate I get come payday, whether I
I mean, I had Cotton 2 on the Saturn, which was good. I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't put the Cotton games on the same level as the Cave games. They're good, but I don't think they're as good. Some people probably think I'm talking nonsense. It'd be nice to
have a nice game that's kind of a stopgap before all the other big stuff comes out that I enjoy playing. Because there's a lot of a lot of indie shooters that have just come out, and I've played half of them, and they're not really worth
No.
talking about. Some of them are, some aren't, and there's been a few horizontal ones that came out, so it's less my thing anyway. So I don't want to badmouth something, and it's not because it's bad game, it's because I don't enjoy it as much. So I don't want to do that.
But,
There's a
actually,
lot more going on.
I
in
keep
that
meaning to track down, not to buy, but there was a game on the Mega Drive, which was a bit like retro futuristic, that sort of not steampunk, but that sort of look to it. And it was a horizontal shoot 'em up, and it had almost like it was like a platform actually, so you could get up and so you could hit where there were buildings which you had to destroy, or as well as, but then you were playing what looked like a biplane, and it was like shooting. It was a good shoot 'em up. I mean, this is before I really got into shoot 'em ups, but I remember thinking I really liked it at the time, the way it played and the way it looked particularly. But I have no idea what it was called. I keep meaning to sort of go on Game Facts or something and plow through until I find it. I'm never going to buy it because I've got a Mega Drive. I don't really want to get one, but it was a good game. Could be worth looking into and seeing who else likes it. But yeah, every still got a Mega Drive.
In the loft,
Yeah.
probably, if it still works, because I don't know if we've got a bit damp up there. But we did have a Mega Drive. I still got Mega Drive games in the game cabinet. So we recently did a Cave special edition of Shoot You Sir, and it was quite fun. Very different thing to do.
Yeah, bloody Cave! I'm sick of them.
Yeah, but people are probably fed up with us talking about Cave all the time. But whilst we're on the topic of Cave,
indeed,
give us your top 3 favorite Cave games.
Well, that's
and then
not going to be hard.
A couple of Cave games you're not so keen on. Because everyone always goes, "I love Cave," and we do, but
I haven't in any way thought about or researched this, so I can't really. I mean, to be honest, sometimes there's been some games I didn't even realise there were Cave games till I started looking into them. It's like, to be honest, I'd forgotten that Death Smiles was a Cave game. When I started talking about it, and then thought, that's a Cave game, isn't it? Because I was associating them more with like the Dodon Patches and Espluda and that sort of stuff. Obviously, Death Smiles, Akai Katana. I'd say Death Smiles 2 really would have to be in the top 3 as well. Really, I can't think because I like horizontals more anyway. I had a good go on Dodon Patches Resurrection, and that's pretty decent. I say it's pretty hard. I mean, it's unless you put it on some ridiculously easy setting, it's a hard game. What's
your overall impression of Dodon Patches Resurrection?
Good. I like it. I like the fact that I think the firepower is brilliant. I know it's a funny thing to say, but I like impressive firepower. It looks amazing, and you're doing damage because it looks good. You know what I mean? Like, you got your ordinary firepower or your hold down firepower, and then you got this. I think I've got it onto the what button is that to the left on the PS4? I don't know. It's A, B, and you got. Must be X, I suppose. It's like a special attack. It's not the bomb. It's something else. It's just like an oomphed up sort of. I think you have build up meter, and then you can use it.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. But God, it's just so impressive when that's going. It's more impressive than the bomb. No, but it's doing a lot of damage because it seems to protect you as well. But it just looks really good, and I think that's important. I don't think
they definitely nailed it with that series. The look of all of that series of games. I know the older ones are dated, but they look great.
Yeah, I think they're real hardcore bullet hell shoot 'em ups.
They're bloody hard.
They're very hard. And I don't think the music is the exceptional either. I think the music's good, but it's not. You don't think, wow, like I have on some games.
There's a couple of Resurrection. The music's pretty good on it, but it's not the Diojo. I like the music. And Dodon Patches on the Saturn, I'm surprised how good the music was.
The Saturn had it'll have it straight from CD, so they can put on it, can't they?
Yeah. Just the tracks and what they'd written was quite impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, a hard series, and you shouldn't ever feel bad anyone watching playing those games on easy because on 7. It's ridiculously hard. And that last game, Saijiojo, maybe I'll bring it up next time I come up. It's insanely difficult. And it looks amazing. It's like they've gone all in. It's their last game. Blah blah blah. But it's too bloody hard. And it's enjoyable at first, and then it's not enjoyable. Even on easier settings, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is just all you're doing is trying to murder me. You can't move.
On the odd occasion, I'm watching a video of somebody getting like a high score. They're always playing right at the top of the screen, blasting, and you're thinking, I can't do that. It's like I always get killed if I do that. They just must memorize it so well. I just don't play them enough to get that good.
No,
I don't try not to hover at the bottom all the time, but to be at the top a lot of the time, just underneath what's thinking, well, they just must know exactly what's coming, and when they're going to shoot off something at a weird angle, you have to get out of the way of, because otherwise you just wouldn't last.
Yeah.
I do like to go up to the top of the screen because sometimes it's pretty worth it to get some points or whatever, but not on a regular basis. It's just too difficult for me. I
couldn't. I mean, I play them a lot, but I couldn't play them to the extent where I'm playing that one game to know it inside out, because I would just get fed up and bored, and then I'd probably never pick it up again. I kind of like, I'll play it quite a lot for a week or two, and then I'll put it down and play something else, and then I'll come back to it and go, oh, this was really good, wasn't it? I kind of like that. Whereas I couldn't play them long enough to know it off by heart.
And I think a good game is sometimes you do have to hold back, sometimes you have to push forward, particularly in like horizontal ones. Otherwise, you're just going to be out of position and surrounded or whatever. And but not just shoot 'em ups, but particularly in shoot 'em ups. I like that balance. So sometimes you have to know when it is the right time to just boom, get forward, get killing everything. Other times it's best to be a bit more cautious.
Yeah.
I like to have both elements
of being in the middle and shooting, getting attacked from everywhere. So you're
because you can shoot left and right.
Yeah.
It's a simple game ploy, but with shoot 'em ups that we like, what we refer to as horizontal or vertically, usually scrolling, they are very much subtle little gameplay extras, which makes something special. I mean, that doesn't always work, but usually, if it does work, it's just a little thing. Just powering up at a certain time or timing your powering up, because when you're powering up, you're vulnerable, and this sort of thing. That all makes a game interesting, and if it's done well, special.
So, what's your least favorite cave game, or a cave game you're not keen on?
To be honest, I can't really think of one. What's yours?
I didn't think. Maybe I should think about it. I remember you saying you went back to Goanji and you weren't massively impressed.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one. Yeah, because I downloaded it onto the Xbox 360. Yeah, back in, I don't know when it was, 2010 or whenever it was that it came out, and I thought it was okay, because I liked the mixture of old and new, because it's quite sort of ancient Japan, isn't it? Type of situation. I don't know if it's ancient Japan, but historical Japan. Let's put it that way. And I quite liked it. And when you said you got it, I thought, oh yeah, that's because I said it's one of the ones I downloaded for, and I got again. But when I played it again, I thought, it reminded me a little bit of Basara. Basara 1 and 2, and on the is that Spyro? Who did that one? Is it Cute?
I'm not sure who did that one.
Yeah. Anyway, it reminded me a bit of that. But I thought Basara was better actually. So yeah, I suppose Goanji would be fairly down the bottom of the list. It's a shame because you think, it's going to have some character and all that sort. Wow, and all that sort of weird noises they make.
But, the concept is great for it, and I kind of like the spirit, the little spirit thing you can channel. But graphically, compared to all the other cave games, it just doesn't. I suppose if they M2 got their hands on it, maybe it'd be a bit more visually. It would look a bit better because they seem to do.
I don't think it plays as well as some of the others either. To be honest.
Yeah, it is mechanically
a big crime.
More walking along, isn't it, than flying?
Which I don't mind. So Ninja Commando's good for that.
Yeah, I've thought of one. I'm not keen on. I don't like Moochie Moochie Pork. I've come to the conclusion. But and I'm not massively keen on pink sweets, but Moochie Moochie pork. What bothers me the most is you have you've got the tiny little play screen, and you can zoom out a bit or zoom in a bit, but you're playing, and then all of a sudden there'll be stuff coming all over the screen of them doing stuff. So you pick something up, and then it activates some sort of little animation that becomes a big square of it. You're thinking, could you not just have moved that just off of screen when you moved it to 360, so it's in the side bits? But it's funny. That first couple of levels are fun, but after that, I just find it really tedious, and yeah, I struggle with that one. So I end up being
it's a long time since I played those two.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're not bad games at all. I just don't not gelled with it, and I don't mind the other one so much. Pink Sweets. I don't mind that too much. That's all right. But yeah, Moochie.
It's a strange name for a shoot 'em up, isn't it?
Yeah,
Pink Sweets.
And it is strange because it must have been because they wanted to go with the food thing, because it's Ibara too, isn't it? Because even in the Japanese name, it's got Ibara in it. So it's like, well, why didn't you just call it Ibara 2 Pink Sweets or something? But
yeah,
and they must have, because of Moochie Moochie Port, maybe. Can move it on to the next bit, which is off topic, so you can talk about whatever you like. Did you decide on a compressor pedal? You're after a compressor pedal.
Well, yeah, I was. I sort of decided I was going to go for the TC, because TC are really well. They're as good as anything, really. Not as good as like your £300 things, but they're good. But so I thought, well, I only want it for one thing, really, a bit of light compression to tighten up the sort of rockabilly type of sound. And I was going to get that, and then I suddenly thought, I might do a trade in, or I'm thinking of a guitar thing or something. So I thought, well, I don't want to buy anything until I decided what I want to do next. Then did you see that KMA Machines Logan drive? I mentioned that in one of my emails to you.
You did mention it. I didn't get a chance to look.
No.
KMG, did you say?
KMA Machines. Logan, good. And part of the graphics on it are good, but it's got lots of really good controls on it. And it's not that expensive, it's only about 160.
Oh yeah, does look good. I have no idea what it sounds like.
So I've listened to a couple of YouTube. It does sound like it's got a lot going for it, with the different things you can adjust.
Oh, it's got a mid switch as well, handy for cutting through.
Yeah, it's got a few good features, and no, it does. It looks and sounds good, but it's not ridiculously priced. Like these Empress pedals go for about 400 quid, I think.
Oh yeah, those are silly expensive, and I'm not entirely convinced by all of them as well. So
no, some of them you just think, well, it's just there's one, is it Zvex or something?
Zvex, yeah.
Yeah, they're just hand painted. You think, well, I'm not paying 300 quid because some bloke did a paint job on it. I do like a nice bit of artwork. I think that Logan drive, that's got nice artwork. It's really dark and weird looking. And some of the orange pedals look like, I do like that. But
I'm not Zvex is very boutique. That came around late 90s, early noughties. Zvex started popping up. Most famously, the Fuzz Factory.
All right.
Famous one, and the Box of Rock and stuff like that. They do have some good pedals, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
All depending.
I like Joyo and more. I think copies of Boss pedals a lot of the time. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the Vintage Overdrive, which is just because it's green suggests exactly what it's a copy of. So
yeah, I tell you the thing that annoys me most of all, and I watch on TC Electronic, is they do the mini pedals, right? But they have the power socket in the side.
Oh yeah.
So anything you've gained from having a smaller pedal is lost, because you've got a great big thing sticking out.
Yeah.
It sticks out much worse than the jack socket does.
There's a lot of pedals do that. It is really annoying because I've got two in front of me that do that. It's really annoying.
But the whole point is you've got a mini pedal. They're not mini pedals, they're like ordinary pedals, but mini pedal. You think, that's good.
It's mini.
Oh yeah, that's quite. What's that?
That's a normal pedal. That's a mini pedal.
Yeah, nice. What's that one? Little one.
Yellow one.
What
is this arrived the other day. This is the Moulin Zod.
I've seen that. Yeah. I like the look of that.
Overdrive. Yeah,
there's some pedals.
Go on.
Sorry, yeah. I really love the look of, and I want to buy it, but they're just not. There's one. I can't remember what it's called now. But it's a fuzz pedal. All it is one bloody great big knob on the top, and I think it's like matte gold or something like that with a knob that's almost as wide as the pedal.
Yeah.
It just looks brilliant, but when I listen to a thing of it, it's just a horrible fuzz pedal. I don't like fuzz, and it's not even particularly good.
Some fuzz is crap, and a lot of vintage fuzz is only built for single coils, and there's a whole.
And also, I know there's a pedal where it says it's ripped cone or something like. Like how they used to cut cones in speakers. Yeah. Well, that just sounds horrible. I've heard ripped cone. My friend did that, and it just sounds foul. And so do those pedals. But anyway. But yeah, there's some pedals. I think, there's another one I was looking at. It's distortion, and you put a bit of liquid. Have you seen that? It's got like a pedal, and there's like a big circular bit there with a light underneath it, and you put liquid in that, and depending on what liquid you're on and its viscosity, it changes the sound. Well, it's just a fucking stupid idea.
So you don't have control over it, which kind of defeats the point of.
No,
I get there's a lot of experimental stuff out there, but that's just getting a bit ridiculous.
The thing was, the pedal itself looked great. I thought, I really like the look of that. but no, that Logan drive, I was coming close to buying that. I just think, I'd really like to try that. The sound I get for the classic rock band is like a sort of a rock of it. It's not metal. It's more of a. I just use it most of the time for it's not so distorted you can't pick out minors and sevenths and things like that. But it's aggressive enough to, and the Katana does that reasonably well. And at the moment, I've just been playing my Stingray through it recently, just hacking through some old numbers, and I've actually got to quite like that. All hard, sort of edgy. It's not metal. It's more of an aggressive rock, sort of almost like not punk, but I don't know what you call new wave
like
sort of
garage.
Yeah, it's I like it. Oh yeah, the jack socket on the Sterling came loose. Not normally a problem, is it? You've got your little nut on the outside. You either finger tighten it or you get a pair of pliers. This hasn't got that, has it? I'll show it to you if you like. Do you want to see it?
Go for it. I always had that problem with it coming loose.
Can you see that? Yeah, it's not got a nut.
Oh,
it's just it's just round and notched.
So in the inside, it must have clips that, like wings, just come.
What you do is, because I was thinking, what the hell am I going to do? So I emailed the guy who got the guitar from. I said, because he always gets back to me straight away. I said, he said, oh yeah, just undo those nuts. And the nut is on the other side. You pull it out a few inches. That's as far as you can get it. There's a little nut on the inside. Just finger tighten it, and I just tightened up a little bit with the pliers. It's spot on now. So. That's all right. I know it's not like fashionable, but I like that guitar.
No, it's a lovely guitar. I think
it's really nice. I think it's got like a sort of offset sort of, or sort of like an indie look to it as well.
Yeah, it's sort of like almost like a Mustang come Jag, isn't it?
It is. Quite a lot better. Not better than yours, obviously, because yours is a special one, but. Jags and Mustangs are good, but I think they're fairly limited because of their design. Whereas that is designed as a rock guitar. It's just two humbuckers, three-way switch, volume and treble and tone, and it does it, Russ.
I'm not using my Jag at the moment. It's too heavy. It weighs more than a bass guitar. If I could get a slimline thing for it, because I've been having back and shoulder problems last year.
Well, my Falcon. I'll just show you the strap I got for that.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's not super weighty, but it's a bit of a beast, isn't it? It's a big old bugger. I got this strap. I can't remember what make it is now. I got that for 20 quid from Dawson's. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I saw I just seen the guitar. I was looking on the internet this morning. I'm toying the idea of what I'm going to do if I'm going to do any trading with it. It's difficult when you can't go and try things out, isn't it? But I found this guitar. Which, it's not a sort of guitar. It's a metal guitar, but it hasn't got a bloody tremolo on it.
Metal guitar?
No, as in heavy metal guitar style-wise.
Okay, so
you know what I mean. Like an Ibanez or a
right,
or
a pointy guitar.
Yeah, it's a pointy guitar. Yes, Well, I would say, in cancer, though, what do you mean metal? Is it made of metal? I said, no, it's
Yeah,
raw metal.
I wonder what you meant then. It's like, well, my Jag's metal guitar. So
Is it? It's BC Rich Shredzilla Extreme Exotic.
Oh, it's a BC Rich, is it? Okay, let's have a look. That's a beautiful guitar, though. It looks amazing.
I was watching a video of it. It sounded quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. So is that the one you're after?
Well, it's a possibility. It's basically whether I do a trade-in. I've been thinking about getting a metal guitar, but I think I did have a Schecter Hellraiser at one time, which is incredibly good value. And this was quite a few years ago. I think I paid less than 300 quid for it second-hand. And the build quality was just so it wasn't new, but the build quality was amazing. It was I can't remember if it was set neck or through neck, but it was really good, and it had the EMG pickups, which are okay. They're a sound in themselves, aren't they? They're not like humbuckers and things like that. They've got like a sterile sort of. But actually, I quite like the clean sound on an EMG. I think it hasn't got the warmth or but it's just got that sound.
Cuts through really well.
And it's like a very good, literally a clean sound. It's cleaner than a Strat or whatever. But that's why people don't like it. They probably think it hasn't got any character.
They feel that it's too clinical. But they are the EMGs. They're decent. They're very well done. They're very well made. They sound good.
Yeah, but I like the clean sound on that. At the time, I just thought, shame it hasn't got a whammy bar on it. But the funny thing is, most people play rockabilly and rock and roll, play Gretsch or cello usually. And I find I very rarely, when I'm playing, because there's so many different chords and little tunes you play, I very rarely use the whammy bar. You think you use it all the time, but I don't. And when I watch other really good rockabilly players play, they don't use it it's just at the end of a chord or something, but I think it doesn't get a lot. I used to use it a lot when I was playing surf. I used it all the time now. And when I'm playing like metal, I do like to and like when you're doing and take the note down a bit, that sort of thing. That's the only worry about that BC Rich. It hasn't got a whammy bar on it. But I kept thinking, perhaps we could get that Bigsby pedal you were on about instead.
Oh yeah. But it looks like a Bixby as well.
Yeah, I think it's got like you press on the bendy part, like the hand. But God knows that. I haven't seen actually in working. It's just showing you it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think it's anywhere near ready.
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, it's not out yet. So it'd be interesting to see if it can get a close, because it's not going to be exactly the same. If they can get a close approximation, that'd be pretty cool.
But I had that Tokai Les Paul, which was a really, really good guitar, and I had the 335 Gibson, and I didn't miss the whammy bars when I was playing those because they just had such a. Was it classic 57s on the? I remember you saying they were really good pickups. Classic 57s?
In my Les Paul?
Yeah. I remember saying to you, when I had the 335, it's got classic.
Classic
57. And you said, they got a really good.
Yeah.
No, they've got. I really like that sound. But anyway, I don't use a whammy bar a lot. I like to do like the harmonic. Bing, that's what they use a lot in metal, don't they?
Yeah.
That harmonic on the E or whatever, on fifth or seventh fret. But it really sounds. I said when I took my Sterling, I went to the. I said, I want to do this on at least one song. I did the harmonic and bent it. I said, all right, and I fit it in. I just said it as a joke, I just like that. I like doing that. I like that sound. I like to fit harmonics into songs with a bit of whammy. Quite a lot of songs, I could bang, going down and down, bling, bling, that sort of. You know what I mean? That sort of.
Yeah.
And if you go bling and then you take the note down and up again, it just sounds good, It's a simple effect anybody can do, but it does sound good.
Nice.
But that's me. Simple that anybody can do. Another one, the JPX, which is a JP10 BFR, like all family reserve. That looks really nice. And what I did like on the one I tried, and it's also on this other one I looked at, it's got piezo, like a piezo pickup on it.
Oh right, okay.
I tried one out, and it actually sounds really good. It doesn't sound like a full acoustic guitar, but it does sound really nice. It's just a sound. It's like a different sound. It's like clean, but even sort of nicer. So and you can blend it with, so you can have like a stratty sort of clean, plus this like almost acoustic sound, and it really does sound nice. A tiny bit of chorus, it really goes well. Anyway, just a thought.
Oh, it's got Crunch Lab in.
But no, yeah, it's Crunch Lab and Liquifier, isn't it? Depends on some of them have some of his models. He's got loads of those JPs.
Yeah, I thought you'd have
JP6 and JP10, and
decent pickups in there.
Yeah, some of them he uses different ones, but
because
they've got second hand.
When you were saying metal guitar, usually the reason why you replace a pickup, usually in the bridge, is because the aftermarket pickups are a lot of the metal ones are a hell of a lot better than stock pickups for metal.
Yeah, sure.
Which is obviously why he's got that in his signature model.
Yeah.
Because it's what's Crunch Lab, it's heavy. So
yeah,
and then that's why I'm waiting on pickup to arrive. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing those up. You said you're getting an Aftermath, didn't you?
No, I've got Aftermath in my my black Ibanez, which I don't use very often. They're for extreme metal though. So I've got a nail bomb. Nail bomb is the standard that I have in most of my. So in the Jag, I've got a nail bomb. In my purple Ibanez, I've got a nail bomb, and then I've got bare knuckle cold sweats in the neck for the cleans. But it's more of like an 80s hard rock, and then the nail bombs, very sort of modern sounding metal. I've got an SH5 coming for the SG, which is sort of 80s sounding metal. So it's got the slight cut in the mids, but a lot more highs, a little bit more piercing. You get a really thud when you're damping. And
is the nail bomb a bit more like an EMG or something like that?
No, the what's close to an EMG? The Aftermaths are probably a little bit closer to an EMG because they're still passive, they're not active. The Aftermath is 14.7 K resistance, and that's ceramic. It's specifically built for sort of gent new metal, metalcore, thrash, etc. So it's a lot heavier. The nail bomb output might be slightly more. Yeah, the nail bomb is in the ceramic bridge is 15.7 resistance. That's ceramic. It does sort of hard rock, and then it does more sort of progressive metal, thrash, and death. But it cleans up really well as well. So it's almost like a
sounds good.
Yeah. But then I've got an SH5 on the way for the bridge of the SG, which is not bare knuckle. That's
tell a guitar to look up while you're on there. The Court. Look up this guitar, Court X700 Duality.
Oh, that's really nice.
The Seymour Duncan. I think one of them's an SH5. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a TB4. It's a JB4, but the T means that it's trembucker. It's only because it's more like a Strat. It's got a trem on it. SH2 in the neck's all right. That's their jazz pickup. So the JB4 is basically just a very high output path, pattern applied for. So it's
like a Gibson but more output.
Yeah, it's sort of a very traditional sound, but it will push your amp into slight overdrive probably, depending on your amp. If you've got a modern amp, then it might not. But so the SH5 is a step up from that. So in the SH5, JB4 is more classic hard rock, and you can get some metal tones out of it, but they're not very modern. SH5 is a lot more crunchy, as in distorted metal crunch sort of sound. You can get a bit more distorted.
Just look up another one while you're there. The Court, again, another Court.
Yeah.
It's the G for Graham 300. That's even cheaper, but that's got some. I'm not sure what pickups that's got in it.
Oh yeah, that's quite smart. Same thing again, same pickups.
Doesn't look as good as that BC Rich.
Yeah, that BC Rich looks lovely.
Do you reckon the pickups on it won't be up to much then?
No, I think you're not as nitpicky about pickups as me, so I think they will do the job. If that was me, I've never bought a guitar where I've not changed the pickups, put it that way. But then I know specifically what I want. So I'll buy the guitar body that I like. And you have to remember a lot of it's because I'm left-handed as well. So I don't have a lot of choice. or less choice and more choice now than we used to. But I usually get the body that I want, and then I want a sound, a particular sound. And obviously, a large part of that, I mean, if you take the fact that I've got the same pickups in my Ibanez as my Jag, and they're completely different guitars, but they sound
Yeah.
almost exactly the same, especially, okay, the Jag Swamp Ash, so it's slightly brighter in the upper mid tones, but you just dial the tone knob back a bit, and if I beat them and you had your eyes closed or covered, you wouldn't notice, because the vast majority of it is coming, the pickups are the same, so the sound there is the pickup, so, and I can control the rest with the amplifier, so yeah, so it's me going for a sound, whereas I think that guitar, you're after a sound, but you're after a complete package. Whereas I have to be picky because I don't have everything under the sun to choose from.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it would be nice to have a guitar that could do that sort of more, that tighter sort of sound for the more aggressive stuff. I don't really play metal as such. I do.
Yeah, and if you're
I'm more on the heavy rock side.
Yeah, if you're selling on, the last thing you want to do is modify it, because it won't hold its price, because you've modified, like a car. You've modified it, because I know that people sell stuff on eBay and they go, "Oh, I've put Lolars in there. I've put bare knuckles in there. It's got DiMarzio and blah 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 in there." It's like, yeah, but that's not how it came.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
So
especially if it's a Gibson or a Fender or something. I think like a more obscure make, people wouldn't be quite. And what a lot of them say, I put in these, but I've got the originals as well, and they're in the case. No, that doesn't seem so bad then, does it? But yeah,
I mean, because ironically, because I mean, I've bought guitars with aftermarket pickups in it, and I've changed those as well, because it's not, because they are either crap or they're very good, but they're vintage voiced, or they're not vintage voice, they're something else. And DiMarzio's, I mean, they've all got a very particular sound, different flavor. That's why there's so many different brands. But
I don't like DiMarzio single coils. Music Man Albert Lee triple single coil, and it was a lovely guitar, but I never liked the pickups. It didn't do clean well at all. It's this brittle, sort of harsh sound, which I wanted to, sort of a little bit of transparency, a bit of singing to it, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
For that sort of music I was playing at the time. So, but no, I've heard some DiMarzio humbuckers I thought were all right, but I'm not keen on the single cars. But no,
they're very good for metal, because a lot of metal bands use DiMarzio.
Yeah, I can imagine the Crunch Lab and the Liquify. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I do enough of these. I keep sort of thinking perhaps I should get another amp. Blah, blah, blah. I've been through quite a lot of amps over the years, but I mainly tended to get like Fender amps or something. I think I did dabble with the modelling amp, not modelling, the amps, the digital amps, but I don't know. I just think there's a lot of stuff. It's almost a waste of time. What I tended to do was get what did I have before? Black Star something, ID 260 or something, 212. Nice amp, but in the end, I just had it on clean and did the rest with the pedals.
Yeah.
I had hundreds of sounds, hundreds of effects, but I didn't like them. No, the distortion was rubbish. And,
I mean, loads of people do that. That's a good way of doing it. Find the clean sound you want, and then you can find a box with your dirt sound that you want. As soon as it's turned up to high level as well, people won't know whether it's a pedal or whether it's the amp. So
that's what I think. Because I mean, the box is so relative for what it does. Is relative. Actually, for the band, it's ideal. As I said the other day in my email, clean sound with a tiny bit of chorus, sort of crunch, bit more crunch, bit louder with some echo for if I do a bit of lead. That's all I need. And so I just switch from one to the other. I don't have any effects pedals because it's got some effect. But for sort of metally, I suppose I could just get a clean sound on it and just do it on the pedals, as you say, really. Because that's what I liked about the guitar. It wasn't all like bloody menus and it's just it's just knobs, and I like that. And I don't use the effects on it hardly at all, to be honest. The overdrive's not bad. I mean, it's not as good as some amps, but it's not bad. It's usable. Probably better than the Black Star ID thing I had. And
it's got the technology's come a long way, and also remembering that Boss has been around for so long.
Yeah.
Korg. doing so many different.
Roland.
Sorry, Roland.
Yeah.
Put my foot in it there. Roland. They've been around for so long. They've done so many different things with effects and
Yeah.
with guitar, with things like overdrive and distortion, that I can imagine it sounds decent. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
But whenever I mentioned it to you, when you emailed me back, you said, yeah, my friends like it for home use. It made it sound like it was like some crappy little practice center.
No, I didn't mean that. They're friends. They're just friends that aren't in bands. I'm not in a band, so what I'm playing at the moment is at home use. So.
Yeah, just the way you said. I thought, oh, all right.
No, I didn't mean I didn't mean to dismiss it. I was just meant to say I've got friends that use it all the time, and friends that one of my friends is really into death metal and doom, and that's the amp that he has and uses. So I mean, it shows that you can get very usable sounds at whatever kind. Whether you want it clean or whether you want it distorted, you can get it from it.
I think, you're never going to get a clean that's as good as a really good Fender valve amp. You're never going to get overdrive that's as good as your what mic do you use now? What mic do you use?
Laney,
that's it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, but it does a reasonable version. I mean,
at the end of the day, if you're not into guitars, it doesn't matter what the fuck the brand is either. It's like live, people don't know, people don't get. It's only the other guitar people that are going to care. And then it doesn't really, it's your taste. I don't think it matters too much. That's the thing. I remember gigging and someone was saying, oh, I like that sound. I was like, oh, I'm getting rid of that pedal. They're like, oh, no, it sounds good. It's like, okay, maybe I'll keep it, because other people out there, it doesn't matter what you're using. It just either sounds good, they like it, or they don't. So,
I mean, how many times have you been at a gig and people say, oh, that was really brilliant? You're thinking, man, we played badly tonight. You're thinking, well, who cares, But no, with me, it's a practical thing, really. I don't want if that band gets gigging like it should do, I don't want to be lugging around a great big Marshall or or a Fender. It's light-ish, and it's loud, and it gets a pretty good sound. So I say, when we put it through the PA, it sounded better, I thought.
Yeah.
Because, anyway, I think it's good enough for that classic rock band. But if I was going to be recording and I wanted to get a great sound, then I'd have to get something better. But I always tend to want to spend more on guitars than I do amps. But no, I bought some fairly expensive Fender amps like Princeton and things like that, over the years. But as much as I have guitars, obviously. I like to have good, like with my bass gear. I like to have good stuff. I've never had cheap bass gear. Not since I was a kid. When I couldn't afford any better. Okay, shall we say goodbye?
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Like, share, subscribe. Go and download the Shoot You Sir fanzine. I'll put the advert in at the end, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Cheers.